シュまだ呼び込みが。
さやか、下がりなさい。俺はもう待ちたくない。
Now, I'm gonna be honest. Every time Kaolan talks in the anime, I hear him, but my mind only hears the great detective Narisago from In Invaded. That's just me recognizing voice actors, but that aside, Kaolan, I'm sorry. Gaolang, okay, the absolute GOAT of Kengan Ashura, the man who proved that you can't fake skill, the man who proved that you can't fake hard work, the man that proved that you can break my fist and I'm just gonna come back stronger, the man that earned the respect of the great Carlos Medel himself, the man that gave Kaneda an honorable execution in front of a live studio audience on Disney XD. I said it before in my Sekibayashi video, okay, that Gaolan was originally my favorite character in the series, and that's not unheard of for most people because Gaolan is an extremely likable character. I think he was rated #1 out of all the characters at one point. Bro is literally a silent warrior, and he's the true definition of a warrior. Honestly, he's someone who would beat the crap out of you while wearing a Minecraft Steve head and act like it's normal. And the one thing I really do like about Kaolan is that he doesn't have a goofy personality, he has goofy tendencies. It's kind of like Saitama, where this man will sit down at a grocery store waiting patiently for a package of meat to go on sale just so we can get it for a cheaper price, which doesn't make sense because I'm pretty sure that Rama can just buy it for him though, but that aside. What is going on, y'all? Sync here, and today we're going to talk about the Thai god of war. That's right, the GOAT himself, Kaolan Wongsawat. Now, I absolutely have to bring this up. I've been reading Kengan for years, and I have no idea if it's Kaolan or Gaolan or Gaolang. I remember for a year it was that I read it entirely like interchangeably between like using the K and using the G, and I was very confused. I had the same issue with Rihito at first, or Lihito. I still don't know which the correct pronunciation is. But yeah, just know that if I say it incorrectly, I apologize in advance. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive deep into Kaolan's character, really get behind the couch cushion here, pull out the nickels and dimes, and then we can get a full dollar understanding of where he fits in the story. For example, why does his eyes do that weird thing where he doesn't have a pupil when he's about to go for the final blow against Kano? And it's actually because of who he's based off of. But before we get into that, don't forget to like the video as it does help the channel, subscribe if you're new, and comment down below who you'd like to see in the next one. Now, with that being said, let's go ahead and begin with this character design. So unlike most fighters in Kengan Ashura, Kaolan isn't based off of a real person, but is instead based off of Broly from Dragon Ball. And you can see this through the eyebrows, and when he does that one move against Kano where his pupils just go away, he gets the same thing that Broly does when he goes Super Saiyan. Like when you think about it, he has all the physical qualities of Broly in his normal form, but he's just more chill, because Sandro wanted to give him the contrast to like your average Muay Thai fighter where they're all lively and very active. He wanted Kaolan to be chill, calm, collective, and let me just say, the thought of someone beating your ass while having the most blank expression is more bone-chilling to me than someone who's smiling while doing it. So for his background, he started Muay Thai when he was about 5 years old, and after Rama the 12th, Rama the 13th's father, discovered his talent for fighting. Which makes me wonder, how the heck do you figure out a 5-year-old has a talent for fighting? But anyways, he continued training in Muay Thai for the next 20 years, and during this time he earned the title the Thai God of War. And during the annual tournament between Thailand and Myanmar, he had a match between Saw Pang where the only reason that Gaolan won was because of the judge's discretion. And not because he knocked out Saw Pang, because let's face it, okay? Saw Pang is too hard-headed to get knocked out that easily. But after years of practicing Muay Thai, Kaolan realized that because Muay Thai didn't put a lot of emphasis in punching, he knew that that was the default in it and that he wanted to actually be that guy for Rama the 13th. So if anything were to happen, he would be his sword. So he thought, you know what? If I actually got into a fight, I need to punch someone's lights out. So when he was 25, he switched over to boxing, and around this time, the boxing legend himself, Carlos Medel, had just retired and gone underground to fight in purgatory. But we'll get more into that later. Within 3 years, he trained at the Glory Boxing Gym owned by owned by Ayaka's family in Danbaru, and became the heavyweight boxing champion that even Season 1 Kano couldn't even match, in terms of boxing, of course. Like I said, man, Kaolan is calm, cool, and collective. All he's there to do is beat people up and rep Thailand. He loves his homeland like Kel loves orange soda, and if you look at his source, there's actually a Garuda on there. And I recently learned that a Garuda is more than just an MMORPG mini-boss. It actually represents virtue, knowledge, power, bravery, loyalty, and discipline. Literally all the things that Kaolan embodies. Usually this is the part where I'd say something about the characters being goofy, but that's not at all the case for Kaolan, okay? He's stoic. In fact, he's so stoic that he rivals both Karo and Simp Sasuke in the battle of stoicism. Now, speaking of Karo, him and Kaolan make the perfect pair of friends in the mini comics. We see them going up mountains together, fishing, driving, like literally doing go-karts, celebrating Christmas, and you know, like, bro, you know someone is your best friend when you're both doing the weirdest shit together. Like, I'm talking Wednesday night Discord call type stuff, because that is the only way that Kaolan can explain him cheering on Karo when he does that dancing flower bit. That's the only way. That is literally the only way. The next person he has a strong relationship with is definitely Rama. Like I said, he is 20 toes down for Rama, no matter what he does. No matter what Rama even say, Kaolan would always go, "Of course, Your Majesty. Yes, Your Highness." Like when Rama tried to pull a Jasmine and disguise himself to walk around like the townspeople just to see how they lived, Kaolan was all for it. But Rama was stupid enough to want to travel by elephant, like nobody was actually going to notice him riding on an elephant into town. Come on now. Hold up though, he got some drip. I might have to make that Kengan Ashura drip tier list soon. Anyways, although Kaolan views Rama as like this unreachable king who should be respected no matter what, Rama sees him as his most loyal servant, but also like an older brother more than anything who's just looking after him. Next, of course, you can't have Kaolan without Sopeng shouting his name 30 miles away. Now, despite Sopeng being a thorn at his side, he actually respects Sopeng out of all the fighters the most. See, Sop even inspired Kaolan to want to train his right hand in order to master God's Glow, which later becomes his ace in Omega. Now, this relationship is pretty self-explanatory. Sopeng wants the salty run back, and Kaolan keeps saying nah, but we all know eventually they're going to fight, and Sanjo can only boo ball his prep for so long on this. Now, lastly, of course, you know I gotta mention his appearances and how heavy the dumbbells you lift. He trained at the Glory Boxing Gym for Pete's sake, and what's even better, no character in the Kengan Ashura series has made Kaolan quiver in fear, not even Agito when he went full sicko mode. But when he saw Machio shrink, he was shook, both mentally and physically. Now, let's get into his fighting style. It's pretty unique. It's a mixture of boxing and Muay Thai. You see, Kaolan's fighting style is known for being boxing, but as we saw from his backstory, he's actually only been practicing boxing for 3 years, which shows the merit of how much of a prodigy he really is for fighting. I mean, not as much as Carlos, because this man taught himself capoeira using only 1 book and 20 hours of studying. So it threw everyone for a loop when they learned that Kaolan was a boxer from Thailand and not a Muay Thai fighter from Thailand, which was really odd considering that Thailand's national sport is Muay Thai. So having their representative not do Muay Thai was pretty weird. But then when he flipped the script and said that, yeah, by the way, he's actually been a pro at Muay Thai all along, haha, hee hee, Sanjo caught us all lacking. So when Kaolan is fighting with the intent of beating his opponent, he's gonna always turn to boxing first. But if it really is serious and he's realizing that, oh nah, I gotta lock in, that's when he breaks in the Muay Thai as a base for fighting, but he's always going to implement punches. Like I always say, I'm not a fighter, and I know absolutely nothing about fighting, but what I do know is that Kaolan's signature boxing move is his absurdly fast jab strikes, the flash. It's where he can put on these like 15 flicker jabs barehanded and 13 one glove. I don't think the 13 glove really matters anymore because you only see him fight barehanded. Anyways, this makes his onslaught very difficult to stop once it starts. If you pair that up with a rush via Muay Thai, then you have an absolute monster. No Johan. In Omega, after his fist gets shattered during this match with Kano, he does partial training similar to Sopeng on his right hand to ensure that it would never be broken again. The result is an absurdly powerful streak known as God's Glow. And during this move, his fist becomes an unstoppable force. Some people argue that while he was training this move in Thailand, he broke a metamorphic rock, which is much harder to break than a sedimentary rocks that are found in Japan. But that is both a power scaling and a geological question that I do not want to answer or hop into that kind of debate. So I'm just going to say that he broke a rock and that was cool. Anyways, on to the story. So before the tournament, Kaolan did not care at all for underground fighting. In fact, I don't remember who his promoter was. All I know is that he was sent to fight under Rama, and that's all he needed to care about. I'm pretty sure their conversation went something like, hey, Kaolan, I need you to go into this underground fighting tournament and win for me. And Kaolan just said, bet. Not even going to question anything else. Not even going to question how dangerous the tournament could have been because he's just that confident in himself. Or that he's just so devoted to Rama that he would have said it regardless. Now on to the fights, okay? His fight with Kaneda was more of a sign of respect to Kaneda because of, well, we all knew that he was one of the weakest people to ever take place in the tournament. Not the weakest fighter per se, I wouldn't call him that much, but he's definitely the weakest person in the tournament. But everyone knew that Kaolan was going to body him. But after Kaneda gave that whole speech about the weak wanting to be strong, I'm not gonna lie. Even I wanted to root for Kaolan to lose right then and there. Like, if Kaneda actually pulled the upset, he would have gotten steamrolled by Kano. Yes, that would have been a complete fact that Kaneda would have gotten absolutely decimated by Kano. I love him, but he wouldn't have made it that far. But it would be really funny to see just the world famous boxer get bodied by a bubble boy that grew up. All right, now before I can even bother talking about this fight with Kano, I gotta talk about the setup that took place before it, okay? Kaolan had experienced the most respectful and honorable match in this series against Kaneda. Then he saw Pang, his rival, at his lowest moment, then got absolutely heated at him. And at this point, he said, fuck everyone else. Fuck this tournament. I'm just here to ball. That's it. No more, no less. The only one getting pleasure out of these matches are going to be my fist, and it ain't even going to be me. It's going to be His Majesty because I'm going to body everyone in the name of him. And I'm sorry, but I genuinely believe that Rama really did have faith in Kaolan beating Kano. Like, he put up so much money. It had Masamichi, the fourth fang of Metsudo, shook. The fourth fang of Metsudo was shook by the amount of money this man Rama was putting up. And he put that up like he was nothing. This man Rama, of course, because he's a prince, he's big balling. And speaking of shook, Kaolan had the entire arena spooked when he showed up with the third coldest walk in the series. This wasn't the fog machine, bro. This was literally Kaolan's aura setting the stage for the beatdown he's about to commit. He walked in there playing Nelly, bro. He said, I woke up in the morning, I had murder on my mind. Nah, he was born with murder on his mind. He had the same straight face since he was a little kid. Look at those eyes. And it was a beatdown that Agito truly did deserve because he tried to taunt Kaolan by copying his hitman stance, and Kaolan said, all right, bet. This bullshit ain't gonna fly with me though. And he absolutely bodied him, okay? Kaolan proved that he really is the world's greatest boxer. So after Kano finished out his job application to receive that work, he knew that boxing was not going to work against Kaolan, so he had to switch up his style. And honestly, when he does that, to me, he looks like Duskenor. You know, when he goes into that little formless stance, this man looks just like Duskenor's animation in Pokemon. Maybe it's just me. But after Kano switched it up, so did Kaolan, as Kaolan busts out the Muay Thai mixed with boxing and just absolutely dominated him in just a very oppressive rush. And honestly, this should have been GG for the entire match. But as the plot dictated, Kano needed to be stronger than any public fighter. So this included both Okubo and Kaolan. They were already designed to be victims for him. So although he couldn't beat Kaolan in boxing, he did manage to beat him in terms of the fight itself by switching up styles midway through attacking, just like Okubo, catching Gaolang off guard, you know, pants down, lacking, and winning the match, thus eliminating Kaolan from the tournament and shattering his right hand in the process. But you know I gotta give it to Kaolan, because he had Agito singing, I still see your shadows in my room, as he was still terrified over the image of Kaolan fighting after his hand was already shattered.
まだ強くなる気右手の感覚がない叶わぬかもしれんなボクサーとしての復帰は悔いはない俺は戦い抜いたぞなあ友よ
Now we can get into the true legend himself, the man himself, Carlos Medel. You see, in Omega, Kaolan takes place in the Purgatory v Kengan match as the opener against the legendary boxing champion Carlos Medel. Now, of course, I'm not going to go too in detail with Medel. Just know that this man was a heavyweight and now he's a bantamweight. How? Don't worry, it's part of the story. But the interesting thing here about these two is that Medel stopped boxing publicly 1 year before Kaolan picked up boxing, so they never actually met in a public match. But this doesn't mean they ain't got beef, because Carlos was the only person who ever got ranked higher than Kaolan in pound for pound. Having two boxers go at it was a thrill to watch, and despite being a bantamweight, Carlos made up for his size with an insane amount of speed. Like, this man was actually faster than Kaolan's Flash. What he was doing was landing these psychological blows to let Kaolan know that, oh yeah, if I had my size, you'd be cooked right now. And bro was hitting these strikes without the intent of hurting Kaolan. He was just rattling his nerves, causing him a nosebleed. For some reason, I can't understand how he knocked out his nerves just by punching him in the face, but he did. I'm just going to accept it. Then he proceeded to taunt this man the entire fight. Like, Carlos was a professional shit talker the entire match, and I love it. And another thing that I really did love about Carlos's fight is that he fights using capoeira now. He went from boxing to now picking up capoeira, and he didn't just learn capoeira, you know, over an extensive period of time. No. It took him 20 hours in one textbook, and he was a master of capoeira. And if you don't know what capoeira is, if you've ever played Tekken, it's the same exact moves that my man's Eddie Gordo be using. And that's when he really started putting on the work on Gaolan. Bro got so cocky that he tried to break Kaolan's right hand with a kick, and then he learned his lesson. One punch, and then he realized he had absolutely no chance of beating Kaolan in a regular match, so long as he had that small stature. So instead, he planned for a ring out tactic like a little. And after zooming in on the camera when this tactic did work, it was declared that Kaolan landed first, thus causing him to lose the match. So recently he's in the Champions Tournament, and in his first match, he's against Jirota, which is probably the worst matchup for Kaolan because Kaolan is a boxing and Muay Thai practitioner, and it is absolutely hard countered by Jirota and his judo, which I'm not certain if that's really the case, but I'm just going to go off of what I read in the story. Anyways, so Kaolan did get to land damn near every single punch on the Jirota, but he had to reel back every single punch quickly because if Jirota caught him lacking one time, he's going to get the clapping. All it took for Jirota to actually get Kaolan down to one throw was tap him on the shoulder, then it was lights out. This man's life flashed before his eyes right there. And he knew he couldn't mess around now because he had to pull out the Muay Thai immediately right after that. So after he continues to lay down the smackdown onto Jirota, Kaolan went for the good old God glow to finish him off, and Jirota used that momentum against him for one more throw, which would have ended Kaolan's whole career. And everyone thought that, yo, this man's done. He's cooked. He's fried. He's shrimp. At least he would be if he didn't need Jirota in the back of the head mid-fall. It was a relatively quick match, but it goes to show that if you're fighting a grappler, if you get grabbed once, you're going to get bodied. You can ask anyone who mains a grappler in a fighting game. They will tell you with the biggest smile on their face exactly what it is. So after this match, Kaolan moves on to the next round against Justin, who claims he has something special for him, but let's face it, okay? Everyone who's reading the story is just waiting on the rematch between Kano and Kaolan. So we all know he's just going to steamroll over Justin. We're just going to try and figure out how difficult of a fight it will really be. In conclusion, Kaolan Wongsawat may not be Sekibayashi, but he is the GOAT. Thank you for watching. You guys have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves. Y'all take care.
気持ち悪い。飲みすぎたか。